What's going on, guys? Jimmy here, and like the title of the video says, this is a Mass Effect 3 video. All what I'm about to talk about in this video is dedicated to Mass Effect 3 or the Mass Effect franchise in general. I just actually finished Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect is my favorite gaming series of all time, and I love it. I love it. I exhaust every dialogue option in games, and I know. I like, well, at least I like to think I know the most about the Mass Effect franchise, and I just finished 3 tonight, I just finished 3, and I just want to make a video about it, discussing it. There are a lot of stuff going around the internet about it, a lot of discussion, a lot of positive stuff, a lot of negative stuff as well, and I kind of just wanted to get my 2 cents in about it. I will say I'm not going to record any gameplay for this. I'm just going to post some Mass Effect pictures up. So as far as actual viewing pleasure, the video is not going to be much, just some Mass Effect pictures and whatnot. So if you want to just leave this running in the background and listen, kind of like a mini podcast, I guess, mini Mass Effect podcast, if you would say. But I will say this right now. As of right now, if you're listening to this, if you're a Mass Effect fan and have not beat 3, or maybe you're just a gamer in general and thinking about getting into the Mass Effect games and you haven't played any of them, this is a spoiler warning. This audio and what I'm about to talk about in this video are basically no filters. I'm going to discuss everything, including the ending of Mass Effect 3. I'm going to discuss some deaths and romance options and whatnot. So, if you have not completed Mass Effect 3, please do not listen to this. If you're just a curious gamer and don't really care, well, fine, listen away. But really, this video is for the people who have finished the Mass Effect franchise, who have finished 3. I also will go over different endings. So if you finished 3 and maybe didn't get the ending you wanted, but you still want to be surprised, then don't listen. So this is your last chance to exit the video and stop listening. But once you beat 3, please come back, listen, and let's discuss Mass Effect 3. So right away, I actually just kind of want to say wow at this franchise. I really love this franchise. As I said at the beginning, it's my favorite game franchise out there, which is kind of impressive since the first one came out in, 2007, so it's a fairly new franchise. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And really after I finished Mass Effect 3, my very first thought was, or my very first urge was, damn, I want to go back and play Mass Effect 1 again. Literally, that's what I did. I beat Mass Effect 3, turned it off, I put Mass Effect 1 back in, and started a new character. Because I wanted to create a new character, choose a different path, choose different dialogue options, and go all the way through again and see how that changed it. And I just think that's really awesome. I really appreciate what BioWare has done with Mass Effect 1 all the way through 3, making it so, everything you do in 1 carries over to 2 and to 3, and it really makes you feel like, the choices you make matter. Some games have you, make these moral choices, and you make it, and it's like, oh, okay, that's bad or good, but then they never really come back to fulfill anything. You're just like, okay, that was just a choice. I don't really, it doesn't make my character, it doesn't affect the story at all. But literally in Mass Effect, some of the choices you have in Mass Effect 1 could severely affect Mass Effect 3. And I love that. I think that's absolutely amazing. And, to get the full-on experience of the story, you have to go back and play 1 all the way through, do everything, do all the dialogue, play through 2, play through 3. They've talked about in Mass Effect 3 how they wanted to open this up to newcomers. And so if you're new to the Mass Effect series, you can pick up 3 and play it. If you're listening to this and you maybe haven't played 3, haven't played Mass Effect at all, do not start with 3. I don't care what the developers say. It's doable. You could play it. The story is not going to really make a whole lot of sense to you. A lot of the cameos and whatnot are just going to go right over your head, and you're not going to appreciate the game for what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to wrap up this awesome trilogy. It's supposed to show you the consequences of your choices and actions through Mass Effect 1 and 2. If you haven't played the Mass Effect series, I strongly suggest go out and play 1. Start with 1. Do not start with 2. Do not start with 3. Start with 1. Now, if you've Mass Effect 3, the gameplay is far superior, in my opinion, to the previous 2, especially 1. 1 is more RPG heavy, but is two, whereas 2 or 3 are more action third-person shooter type. But so some of you might go back and play through 1 and be like, wow, this is actually really, really clunky, and because in 2 and 3, if you have an assault rifle, just based on your third-person shooter skills, if you can hit the target or not. Whereas in 1, it really depends on your assault rifle skill, which they took out of 2 and 3. So some of you might have a hard time with it, but I strongly suggest start with 1. Just ignore what developers say. Do not just go right into 3 thinking, oh, it'll be okay, I'll understand everything. Now, you might play through 3, it being your first Mass Effect game, and, be like, okay, oh, I really liked it, so go back and play 1 and 2 again. Or play 1 and 2 for the first time. But start with 1. Like I said, I finished Mass Effect 3, and the first thing I did was pop Mass Effect 1 back in to start another character. I'm going to, maybe go the Renegade option, or choose different options, save different people and whatnot. So that being said, one of the first big controversial things for Mass Effect 3 that a lot of fans really let the developers know is if you go on Metacritic, you'll clearly see, some immature gamers really with the review scores, but was the Day 1 DLC. Like I said, this is going to be a spoiler, so if you haven't played it, don't listen any further. But the Day 1 DLC was called From Ashes, and it included a Prothean squad mate. The DLC is not actually very long. It's about a mission. It takes about maybe 15-20 minutes to complete, and you have a Prothean squad mate. The Prothean squad mate actually is a very awesome character. So not just a throwaway character, a very good character. But great dialogue, great voice acting, great story if you delve into it and investigate and you really talk to him. Very awesome character, and if you take him on some missions, some really awesome dialogue occurs. A lot of people were upset at this. They're like, hey, I'm spending $65 in your game. Why do you have this Day 1 DLC? I don't think a lot of people really understand maybe the gaming development. Mass Effect 3, the actual full game, was probably done about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And they needed something to do, as the game was getting tested and whatnot. So they started working on the DLCs. The Day 1 DLC's probably been in development for a while. Even though the mission only lasts maybe half an hour, it still takes a while to actually develop that, get the voice acting and whatnot. So they had it ready. They had it ready for Day 1. I have no quarrels with that. I don't really think that's a problem. A lot of gamers really hate Day 1 DLC, and I could see some of their arguments, but, honestly, I don't have a problem with it. I do have one big problem with this DLC, though. This character is so great, and it's a Prothean. It's not like it's some Alliance random soldier. It's a Prothean. Big, plot in Mass Effect was about the Protheans, and they, This character should have been in the game. This should not have been a DLC. This should have been part of the actual retail copy of the game. I don't know if EA was like, hey, wait, we need some Day 1 DLC, which I wouldn't put it past EA. They are, one of those companies. But this character should never have been Day 1. I have no problem with Day 1 DLC. Make it some random squad mate or something, some random Alliance soldier or something. If you're gonna have Day 1 DLC, maybe get a new squad mate, some new weapons, armor, appearance pack or something, not a Prothean squad mate. This guy should be in the game. Should not be DLC, should be part of the actual retail copy that everyone gets, because he's an awesome character. Now, if you don't have From Ashes and you play through the game, you're not really going to miss a whole lot. He, just because you have him doesn't mean you get special missions or anything like that, but he is an awesome character to have around, awesome dialogue choices, and you can really learn more about the Mass Effect universe. That's why I think he should be in the game. There's no reason why this guy should be DLC. But, that being said, they chose to make it Day 1 DLC. A lot of gamers are unhappy about it. They're taking the very first day it came out, its average review score at Metacritic, critic-wise, gaming websites-wise, is a 95, which is really good. Not many games get, if you get over 90, that's great. Not too many games have over a 90, not too many games have even near 95. So that's awesome. I definitely agree with that. But the user score is I think on Day 1, it got as low as 3.7 or something like that, because, and you go down through, and all gamers are doing is bitching about the Day 1 DLC. Listen, you don't like it, don't buy it. Yes, if you're a big Mass Effect fan, you're going to want the Prothean. But, hey, you know what? It's a business. And that's what, and gamers have to understand, it's a business, I I really don't agree with going to Metacritic and putting a 0 next to the game. I don't agree with that. If you don't like it, go to BioWare's forums and make a valid argument against it. Make a educated argument. Now, some of you are like, well, that's not going to do any good. They're never going to listen. BioWare is one of those companies that actually do have people reading the forums. And they read the forums and they make decisions based off what people say in the forums. If you go to the BioWare forums right now, a lot of BioWare people are posting on the forums that, hey, listen, we're listening to what you guys want and what you guys want to do. Go to the BioWare forums and make an educated, valid argument, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people who probably agree with you, and just do that. Don't take the Metacritic, make the score 0, and then in your review say, oh, fuck BioWare, fuck EA, they're a bunch of money hungry, insert explicitive. I mean, that's not the right way to get these developers to maybe stop doing day one DLC or what have you. First of all, this whole DLC thing, it's not going to stop anytime soon. It's the new normal in gaming. Gamers have to understand that. Whether you like it or not, it is the new norm. Getting more and more games, they're going to have day one DLC. They're going to have online passes. It's going to happen. The whole online pass thing, that's trying to fight the youth game things, and that's a whole other video for another day. But the day one DLC, it's going to start. More games and more games are going to do it, because the game development cycle, games usually finish 2 to 3 months before they're actually released. Developers, they have many people working on the game, so a lot of people are testing the game, getting it finalized, but a lot of the guys need something to do, so they start making DLC. So hey, the DLC's done by day one, why not release it? You know what I mean? I mean, now the prices, we could argue about the prices, but like From Ashes is $10. I think, I told you what I thought about the character, and he should have been in the game, but if you're going to charge, I think $5 would have been appropriate. Not 10. 10's not a terrible amount, but still 5 would have been nice, because like I said, the mission lasts maybe about 30-35 minutes, depending on your type of playstyle, or difficulty, I should say. Then again, I get the collector's edition, so it came for free. And that's another thing I would like to say. More and more of these, the Mass Effect Collector's Edition, I think, is a great deal. I mean, it's $20 more, but you get a lot of extra stuff, a lot of cool stuff. It's not like $150 and you get this lame statue like a lot of these other games. If you're a huge fan of a series and you see a collector's edition coming out, these things are announced months and months and months ahead of time. I would suggest pre-ordering it from somewhere. I don't care where. Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, wherever you want, because most likely, more and more often, these collector's editions are going to come with DLC of some sort that is going to be available later for purchase, probably for a ridiculous amount for what the content you get. But if you want the content, just get the collector's edition, spend the extra money now, get some extra stuff along with it, and then, you won't be left on the sidelines to bitch about it. I mean, it's just my opinion. But again, yeah, I mean, I understand a lot of gamers' frustration with the day one DLC. I just think it's something you guys are going to have to get used to. It's going to happen. And it just is. I've accepted the fact, I do think a lot of DLC is extremely overpriced, and I think Mass Effect 3 will be a perfect example of that. I think they're going to release a lot of DLC for this game, maybe even an expansion pack that adds a lot of extra hours to it. But, appearance packs, gun packs for like $5-6, that's too much, but it's going to happen. It's going to be there, and I'm going to buy it. So yes, I am giving in to them. I don't really care. It's my favorite franchise. I'll buy every piece of DLC that comes out, whether it's $5 or $100. That's just the way I am, and I'm going to stick to it. So yeah, I'm not really helping the cause, I guess, but it's my favorite game series, so I'm going to. Another thing I want to discuss, I think I might make a 2-part video on this, because there's still a lot of stuff I need to discuss. So you know what, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually stop this one here. So we talked about a little bit about what I love about the Mass Effect franchise, Day 1 DLC. In my next video I'm going to make, again, it'll be audio only, I will go ahead and talk about romance options, deaths, the ending, a lot of stuff we got to cover that I do want to talk to you about. Alright guys, like the video, helps me out a bunch. Leave your comments below if you finished the game, or leave your comments below and tell me what you think about the whole Day 1 DLC fiasco and whatnot.